You will work, you will be exterminated, exterminate, exterminate.
And I mean, then obviously Orkini wants to detonate the bomb and try and catch Davros' ship, but he waits way too long.
Actually, first off, when I just want to say, when Orkini comes into the room to attack Davros, like the scene with him, like, and the face deflating and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that was a
really cool scene, and then he turned around, and it's like it was a trick, and it's like great moments, really good moments, and that's why I defend this story, and that's why I defend Colin Baker's main series. I mean, Trial of a Time Lord was it's a different kind of series, really. I wouldn't really call it a traditional Doctor Who series, but yeah, obviously I still count it in the canon and all. But I always look at Trial of a Time Lord as a different kind of era. It was very different, like the politics and all what was going on. The BBC made it different. But I mean, I defend it. I mean, like, Attack of Cybermen's good. Vengeance of Varys has its good points. I really like the setup of the television. It's kind of like I'm a Celebrity, but a lot more harsh and violent. And then Two Doctors is pretty decent. Then this story is pretty decent. That's like 4 out of 6 of them, which are pretty decent. Mark of Irani's got his points, time lashes in there. But it's got its good points. It has got its like highs,
really strong points. But I also it can't overlook some of the
Also, the music's rubbish. It's very, very.
To be honest, I didn't really pay attention.
There was music when there didn't really need to be music, and then when there was music, it was all too. It was really loud, like.
At least it wasn't quite as repetitious as Time in Rani.
That's true. But yeah.
Also, another small and nice line. I can't remember because I wrote it down. I don't remember the entire line before, but like Davros going like consumer. I can't remember. I can't read my own writing sometimes. But yeah, like Davros got several really nice lines in this. Just
Terry Ryan and Eric Stewart they really created a.
When Davros was revealing his plot with the Doctor. I think that was.
I quite like how they went back to the original of trying to mutate Daleks to make them humans. Wherever. That's what Genesis was all about.
Feeding. I think I know this because he was feeding humans back to humans.
Yeah.
That was what he was. That was a really
It would ruin consumer. It was really nice. I just love.
That was a really great plot, and actually, I like how it's not just inherently the Daleks trying to take everything over.
It's like small parts, trying to improve the Daleks before doing the large taking over.
Yeah.
You got to build up your army before you can invade.
Yes.
That's the way I look at it. And
definitely.
I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, then
it builds up to an exciting ending with Daleks and explosions and Daleks fighting Daleks, and the ending parts of the story really do come together very nicely. The only issue I have is that the Doctor's final line, had it been cancelled at that point, would have been a pretty dreadful ending to the
I'll
story.
take you to.
If that was the ending to Doctor Who, that would have been.
Sucked. The thing is, oh God, I'm so annoyed they didn't make that series.
But
we will make a podcast covering that. We really will.
But I have to say this now.
Why did they cut it? I mean, what did it matter? Even if they said Blackpool, I mean, they didn't need the next episode to be Blackpool. They could have just gone. He took her there. That's it. Covered.
Yeah.
And then in the mysterious planet, they could have just gone. That was a great time in Blackpool.
True. Well, just not mention it, just because being an off-screen adventure, it doesn't really matter. But I have to say, in some ways, because while of course these stories are really enjoyable to us as a fan, definitely.
Oh yeah, I think you have to be a fan to enjoy this one.
This one, and I'd also say others of this kind of era. So I'm watching Vengeance and Varys as well. You have to really pay attention as a fan to kind of appreciate it.
Attack of the Cybermen is the one you really have to be a fan of to get it, because they do so much Cyberman history.
They do.
It's like a celebration of Cybermen, that one.
But I think that's kind of I can see possibly it's nice for a fan, but it kind of clicked to me. Like, that's why, an average person kind of stopped watching Doctor Who at this point. And this is kind of how the series got to the point where they were considering cancellation. It's because, in some ways, it kind of left the common viewer behind.
Yeah.
Which is good in some ways, as a fan, but as an average viewer, I think they kind of made things...
You need to be able to, give to both. Like Rose, use the Autons, so classic fans were like, oh my god, Autons!
But they don't explicitly,
just reference everything, about it.
To an average viewer, this would be weird, complex, and not necessarily something they'd appreciate, especially when some of the episodes referencing some of these stories weren't even found at this point. You couldn't even watch them again.
Yeah.
Because there are episodes missing. So and there wasn't an internet, so you couldn't just go back and research it.
Yeah, like we can.
So it appeals to long-time viewers, but at the same time, it cuts off those who are trying to watch it new.
Yeah.
Which, it kind of clicked to me. Of course, people running the BBC at that point may well have been kind of under the same boat. They won't necessarily understand that as well.
Yeah.
So, while I don't agree, and the second Colin Baker series sounded fantastic, that appeared to be heading down the same path.
Route, yeah.
Celestial Toymaker is not going to be something that the average viewer is going to know about.
Yeah, but I think if they'd done it the right way, it would have been okay.
It's true, but
you can always bring back old villains.
Judging by this...
Like the Sontaranix, strategy.
Yeah, they properly reintroduced these things, and that's true. But judging by this series, would they have done it?
No.
Which, just looking at it from that perspective kind of gave me an idea of why the things were cancelled at this point, and why it was almost sort of necessary to kind of take it a step back and try and do things fresh, to get a new perspective on it. Trial of a Time Lord was kind of became its own sort of thing. You didn't need to watch Doctor Who up to that point to understand it. And that continued on to Sylvester McCoy's era. You can watch Remembrance of the Daleks. It has lots of nice nods, but you didn't need to be acquainted with Doctor Who to appreciate how good that story is.
I mean, it's a bit confusing, the two types of Daleks going against each other, but they explain it well enough.
Yes, they explain it really context.
Okay.
And
I remember the first time I watched it, I was a bit confused about why there were two different types of Daleks, but I was pretty young at that point. But I think when I rewatched it, because it was such a good story, I got it the second time round at least. Yes. It was fine. Yeah. Or by episode 2, I think I got what was going on. They were Daleks, and one supported one supported the other.
It kind of gave me perspective, because up to this point, I've only recently, relatively recently, started watching Colin Baker's stories, because beforehand I just kind of heard about them, and actually I didn't even have a Colin Baker story in my collection until I got Vengeance on Davros about a year or two back.
Well, you watched it with me when we were
we watched episodes. It's true. But I thought that was a one-off. But now watching this, watching that, and watching Attack, it kind of gives me perspective, about how things were kind of dropping and why. It's interesting to think, because I didn't get it. Why would they cancel being younger and being why on earth would they cancel Doctor Who? Why was it becoming less popular?
Well, people didn't like it at the BBC anyway.
People at the BBC didn't like it. They didn't get it. And the average viewer wasn't watching it because it kind of gone beyond them.
It was too much for fans.
It makes sense. It makes a lot more sense to me now.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go on to three good points then.
3 good points. The directing.
Yeah.
Easily. Fantastic directing. Graham Harper did a fantastic job. So many nice camera angles. So many nice shots. And especially in the Glass Dalek moment, every reveal moment. Beautifully shot. I would say I enjoyed kind of a different kind of Dalek story. It wasn't just inherently conquering. Davros was manipulating, and he wasn't just up to this point. It kind of took it back kind of to how it was in Genesis. So in Resurrection and Destiny, he was he went. They tried to make him more mad and didn't
tyrannical.
They didn't try to show this more kind of more
charming, a weird,
slightly more charming, slightly more almost kind of scientific point of view of Davros, because that was kind of almost forgotten past Genesis, but this kind of brings it more back. Davros is experimenting on the Daleks. He's being more of the scientist, Davros, and more of the manipulator, yet charming, And his overall plot is very different to, like, any other Dalek story you'll see, really. So, it's very interesting from that perspective. Definitely just...
its own unique side.
It is. And I would say... Yes, this is the best.
That's the best bit.
I'd say the finale, like how that kind of ramps up, builds up, brings everything all together. Kind of explains things enough. The finale is a strong point. Okay, head my friend.
I definitely. I'd say for starters, the Davros Terry Molloy as Davros. I'm gonna go a few different ones because I know he's just so he gets the voice right. The lines are really the way it's written. Definitely. Number 2, I'd say it's darker tone. I know that the entire series did a lot of stabbing and darker tones, but this one really kind of got it like at a morgue kind of place. Death, destruction, cannibalism from Davros. Everybody dying. It was really, really well set up and really well written. I'd definitely say, and I'd probably say how like everybody comes together at the end, not like together as in team up, but everybody just ends up in the same location, either dies or doesn't. And there are some sad moments in it. When the DJ dies, not really because he died, but more like Colin Baker's reaction to it. When Natasha and Gregory die, that's quite a I hate it when I hate but love it when like someone gets really close to succeeding and then the Dalek kills them. Or they just manage it but they still die anyway. Sweet moments. Those ones are sweet, bittersweet. That's it. Yes. Moments. Then number 3, I guess. Directing for sure. Really good angles. Really, I think showed Colin Baker off at some really good points. Definitely Terry Molloy. Also, I'd say that's it. Bad points then. Three bad.
So I'd say how kind of messy it was in the beginning. How it had like 4, 5, possibly even 6 if you count like the things on like the other planet with the assassins and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they put so many plot points into the opening, and then
it takes a while to pay off. It
takes a while to pay off, and like you don't entirely care about everybody in the plots until later on. Till later on, and some of it isn't even fully like, it's a mess kind of in the opening. Like it doesn't feel right. There's too much happening and too many characters introduced. They need to cut a few back and just kind of focus. They lost focus in the opening, I think. As you said, the radio DJ could have been pretty much entirely cut, and like nothing really would have been affected. But yeah, that was an issue. I would say, I think. I think, again, I mentioned earlier about lack of, like, tension. The Daleks are very much shown to be what they are very early, and...
revealed too early.
Revealed too early, and you don't really get a sense of Davros being the great healer. Like, he's told as such, but he doesn't really do... We don't hear about what he's done until Davros explains it himself, but that's...
right at the end.
Yeah, you just see all these people referring to him as the great healer, but you don't really get a sense of what he's actually done or, why he's so revered until, like, he just kind of explains it, And that, again, that is right at the end, so, like, it's kind of... The ending's really as I mentioned, kind of the best point of all this. But, you know, because everything before that kind of is a little bit messy and a little bit... Things are kind of not explained all that well. And I would say... That's my stomach.
Yeah.
I would say... Probably... yes,
How about the Daleks showing up?
Yeah, right at the end. Yeah, it's true. The Daleks just kind of... Those other Daleks showing up kind of out of nowhere, and... You know, while it leads into the good things, they didn't really build them up or allude to them in any way, and like... It doesn't entirely... You can kind of entirely miss it without watching Remembrance and understanding
what it leads on to.
Yeah, like they mention a Supreme Dalek. Okay, who, what, why? Like we don't see one before, and there's another one reference, so it just kind of appears. It makes sense having watched what comes after, but. In this story, we just see two random Daleks claiming allegiance to a Supreme Dalek.
Is there a
if
Supreme
you don't
Dalek
know.
in Resurrection?
Not as far as I remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I have a little looky, but I remember it too much.
I don't think so.
Oh well, Eric Shaw wrote it.
He did.
Okay. Yeah, Luton persuades the Supreme Dalek to use poisonous gas to get the crew out of the way. So there is a Supreme Dalek.
Okay, but... Yeah, I haven't seen that story in a while, but again, that brings back to the point of people who haven't watched the previous Fifth Doctor stories wouldn't really get this.
Yeah, definitely.
And
it's been a bit of a...
I think also at that point, because during the Fifth Doctor era, the Fifth Doctor, they moved the time slot to a Tuesday. So a lot of the people, and then they moved it back
to Saturdays, yeah.
So a lot of people who had to miss it from the Tuesday slot are going to be entirely lost here. What the heck's a Supreme Dalek? You know.
Yeah, it's risky stuff. But so is using it in Remembrance as well. But anyway, yeah.
It's true, but that, again, as I said, that kind of builds itself up.
I'd say my 3 bad points are definitely the radio DJ really annoys me in the first episode. I mean, it's okay later on when he's actually in person with Perry, but it's just annoying. It's like, shut up, you idiot. And mainly because he interrupts a really good scene, which could have been when, like, just after she hit the mutant, it going straight to... I don't know why he says, oh, there's a pretty lady in distress after she's knocked the mutant out. She's not in distress anymore. Great one, Mr. Radio Guy. You got live streams and you fall behind it.
Well, he was in the middle of speaking and then it just had changed, so he decided just to finish off his sentence.
Yeah, and then... 2, the Daleks showing out an OF, sure. That really is kind of really sloppy. And I'd say probably 3, the Doctor really doesn't do much in episode 1. I mean, he doesn't even get inside the establishment, he gets crushed outside it.
Yeah, it's true.
They really do very, very little, and I mean, it's Doctor Who, you kind of want to see the Doctor a bit. I mean, I'm okay with like lots of side characters, but I mean, they could have got rid of the DJ and had a little longer with Colin Baker.
It's true.
Yeah, so nerdy. Ooh. So yep.
I don't mind.
Yeah, okay, so this is the first time it's not just the Daleks that can kill or paralyze. Davros can do the same, mainly with his firing a blue energy from his artificial eye, or from his hand, as we see in both. And he also levitates off the ground, which this is the first time that we see levitation. It's the story where there's first levitation.
The chase.
Okay, yeah, that's a really weird one. Like, does that count as levitation? Because did they mean it to be a levitation or didn't they? It's kind of a weird thing, or was it just, climbing out by its wheels? But it must have been levitation when you think about it. But this was the first time it was written to definitely be levitation with like the lights underneath it and all.
Yeah. The glass Dalek is a concept which was actually in the Target novel, well, the original novelization of
the Daleks, the first Doctor invention.
Which is one that I remember reading as a child. I don't remember exactly what it did because it was a long time ago. But in fact, I still have the novel. that was where it was first introduced. There's a lot of interesting things about the novelisation, actually, but I think we'll talk about that more when we get to the Daleks. But there's a lot to talk about that particular novelisation. It is really interesting.
It's never explained how Davros survived the Magellan virus, which he kind of contracted at the end of Resurrection. He states that he got away in an escape pod, but he never says how he survived the virus, because he starts like spewing like pus, I guess you'd call it, everywhere at the end of it. It's like, oh, it can't affect me, I'm not a...
And perhaps that was what they were kind of alluding to the fact that he was ahead in the beginning.
See, that's what I would, that's, I guess, what they were going with.
But at the same time, they never explicitly say it.
I think it's because probably he wasn't full Dalek and didn't kill him. It just, like, messed him up a bit. You know, like when you get a cold, it doesn't kill you, but it messes you up for a bit. That's what I think it was.
It's true.
And I think he probably acted dead to then not be killed, you know? Also, in the big Finnish productions, Davros portrays another, in the Order of Adventure, Davros portrays another encounter between the Sixth Doctor and Davros, set between Resurrection and Revelation.
Again, the ending was supposed to lead on to him saying Blackpool.
Yeah. When he was saying before the story planned the Nightmare Fair, which was going to be great. Yeah. Also the Doctor says that, a 900-year-old Time Lord.
He does,
you know,
he does.
I think in this instance he's rounding up to 900.
Actually, there was some video, or something I read, which basically stated that in the 8th Doctor era, there was some... I don't remember whether it was an audio novel or something else, but it states that during the 8th Doctor era, he lost track and decided to count up again.
Ooh, so that's how he gets to 903.
Yes.
Makes sense. That's quite cool. But yeah, there's not too much else. The guy who plays Jovel, Clive Swift, also plays Mr. Copper in Voyage of the Damned. Also Davros gets his robotic hand in a Big Finish one, I think. Was it a book? It was one of those two. Was there much else? I mean, Daleks have obviously been seen now levitating ages afterwards. But yeah. Oh yes, Davros' right hand is destroyed near the end of a serial. In the Davros mission, it's replaced by a robotic hand fitted by the Grey Daleks. The Davros mission is an audio sequel to Revelation. There we go.
Of course, this was the point where the series had a 18-month hiatus.
Yeah. Cool.
Which eventually led to Trial of a Time Lord, but
yeah, it's sad times. Trevor Cooper later appeared in the 12th Doctor story Robot of Sherwood. Trevor Cooper played Takis, which I think was the guy who was with Kara. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, Moonlight Serenade, the music which radio DJ was playing, the kind of the, which was also in the Empty Child. If you remember the do.
Oh yes.
Do do do.
Yeah. The kind of romantic music kind of thing. Obviously, these two episodes were 45 minutes because that's what the series format was.
There was a reference to Star Trek in this. The character Grigory, the other guy, he says, "I'm a doctor, not a magician," which is a line which was said in Star Trek. I've only watched a few episodes of Star Trek, so.
Here we go. All home releases were digitally edited to remove the Jimi Hendrix Experience track "Fire" as played by the DJ, which was intact in the original TV transmissions, but cut from VHS and DVD releases due to copyright issues. An authoring error with region 2 copies causes some makes of the DVD player to freeze at 8 minutes 32 seconds into episode 1 unless certain precautions are taken. So there you go, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Jimi Hendrix, that's a odd thing to happen. Never really heard of that before. So we haven't even watched the originals, guys. We've got to go back and add it in.
Wasn't a similar thing that happened in the Chase? Because they had a Beatles song.
Yes, but that is only in the American version. Is it removed? I think in the British version it's still there.
I know. I'm pretty sure in the DVD release they have it. I thought that in the VHS release they didn't have it. I don't remember.
I could check. I've got it on VHS.
Or do you think you could quickly... if it's on there?
Maybe. But yeah, so that's kind
There's a few others. Hang on.
Probably edit this a bit to make it a bit smooth.
Yeah, maybe. In the United States and Australia and New Zealand, it was 4 25-minute episodes.
Yeah, see, that would have been much better. I wonder why they did the cuts, you see. That's interesting. That'd be interesting. Media.
With, so part 1 is the, Natasha and Gregory hiding in the catacombs. And the part 3 one is either Dr. Cheng perishes in danger or Davros ordering the Daleks to kill for DJ.
Yeah, no, the Beatles clip is not included in the Region 1 DVD. That's it. It doesn't state anything else about it.
Okay.
Which is a really odd thing to happen. Because it kind of leads straight into it. But I'm glad we've got it. Well, hey.
Okay, so just before we conclude, there's something I really have to add, because while doing research for the editing of this, I found something that we didn't get, because the episode really didn't express this very clearly, but it's actually pretty important. So Arthur Stengos, earlier on in the video, you might have noticed, or was it might have been in part 1, I don't remember, but basically we talked about how we didn't know where he was. He sort of disappeared. It was mentioned, and he kind of, we mentioned we didn't know what happened to him. Well, it turns out that Arthur Stengos was meant to be the head in the glass Dalek, and Natasha was his daughter, and they were coming in to find him. Now that makes sense, but the episode didn't properly communicate this. Neither me nor Nick had any idea that was what they were going for. They might have said it in a throwaway line or something, but I'm pretty focused when I'm watching episodes. Usually I get most of the small details like that, but I did not get this, so I say this was pretty poorly expressed by the episode itself. Not to take away from the glass Dalek scene, but I mean, this whole thing would have made more sense if they had more clearly said that was Arthur Stengos. But oh well.
But yeah, so there we go. So conclusion.
Alright. So, this story has some pretty darn strong points, There's the glass Dalek being done exceptionally, the plot being interesting and being very different from a very usual Dalek story, the finale building up and bringing everything together very nicely. And there are a few good moments scattered throughout it. However, part 1 especially suffers from the issues of having too much going on with too many characters and not enough being explained until right at the end where everything happens. It builds, the ending builds up nicely, but it kind of, again, part 1 isn't all that great, I don't think. This episode except for a few moments, as I said, the glass Dalek. Actually, some of the intro bits were quite nice, though. Again, kind of messy because they keep throwing in other things here, there, left, right, and centre. So, it's a mixed bag. There are some things I really like, some things I really quite dislike, So, I have to say, as a whole, this would get my rating of a 6 out of 10. Not that some aspects of the story are higher than that. If I was rating it purely based on some of its stronger moments, of course it'd be higher than that, but at the same time,
got to take everything into
yeah, I think there's more good here than bad, but I think there's still quite a lot of iffy moments in this story. It's definitely worth a watch, but definitely if you're watching it, take in mind that the best moments are coming up later, not so much as you start.
Yeah. So yeah, the Colin Baker era is often given a lot of flack for its moody doctor and poor stories, but I have to disagree in some aspects. While Colin Baker is sharp and harsh, he has an absolute presence and charm to him, while other doctors haven't been able to even touch. He is such a powerful presence on screen. Colin Baker's you wouldn't want to mess with him. There's kind of that kind of feel to him, yeah, he's got that powerful presence. And yeah, would you really want the same Doctor every time? I was like him, mainly because he's just so different. It's just refreshing in the era. And then Sylvester McCoy goes a completely different way, so that's also refreshing. But like, Colin Baker was the first one to kind of I mean, Tom Baker went for the weird, but then Colin Baker went for like the kind of really kind of risky dislike. You know, that's why they went with him. And I just generally like it. And yeah, so Colin Baker really stands out to me, and so do some of his stories, with a much darker tone than, but different from the Tom Baker Gothic era. Revelation uses the setup from the stories before it to deliver a dark emotional journey where no one really has a happy ending except for Grey Daleks, really. I mean, everybody comes out losing. Like, most of the characters die. I mean, the Doctor and Perry, they didn't really win, did they? Like, who won? They didn't really stop anything. It was the Grey Daleks who just came in and just put an end to it. You know, there's...
But with the bomb as well.
Yeah, bomb a bit, but I mean, it didn't kill anybody. It was just pointless, really. It just blew up the place. So there's no really happy end. Yeah, some of that's true. But like, there's not really an overall happy ending, which I think is quite good for this story. It's dark from start to finish. The acting is pretty high standard, and so is the directing, which was incredibly good for the time. Like, you just see it and you're like, whoa, revolutionary stuff. And that's why Graham Harper came back in the new series. It's obvious. You can see why he did. But obviously the story does have some bad elements. The music is not great. The DJ is really, really annoying. Like, he's so annoying and really breaks the pace a lot of the times. But I mean, he's okay later, so he redeems himself. But overall, it's a strong finish to Colin Baker's first of, sadly, 2 seasons. I give Revelation of Daleks also a 6 out of 10 for being epic, dark, and good finish to a new darker era of Who. But then they kind of stop the darkness, though Time Warp is rap, or whichever one you want to go around, is incredibly dark as well. They kind of continued that. But I mean, yeah, it did have its bad points, and there's lots of kind of... Episode 1's really slow, but once you get through episode 1, you've got a really cracking episode 2. But episode 1 does have good scenes, like the Glass Dalek scenes, you know, but it's a lot more spaced out, while episode 2 is kind of really good scene after good scene, really. So it could easily be a 7 in some ways, but I think 6 is kind of a good resting place for it at the moment.
It's a bit above average overall.
Yeah, I'd say probably, like, if we were going into points, like 6.7 or something, I'd probably go around like... I think that's fair enough. It's got enough good points to it to not just be like a middle. It's on the good side of it. Like,
side.
5 is kind of it's alright. 6 is when it's good and going up to better, and 4 is like not great, going down to absolutely terrible. But so thank you very much for listening to us ramble on about Daleks and Colin Baker and all that. That's the end of our second batch.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched it, go back and watch them. There's some really good moments in there.
We order you!
Yeah. So, hopefully that menacing Dalek won't be back for a while, forcing us to podcast about stuff, about Daleks. God damn him. That little Dalek.
How dare you make us watch Dalek stories, despite the fact that the most popular and quite likely to give us a decent viewership.
Yeah. Who's
the bad guy here, really?
Yeah. So thank you. So thank you very much for watching. So subscribe
or not. Don't be forced into one of these little glass things and made into a Dalek. You gotta break free. Well, I guess that might not be the best comparison. He just got blown up. That's just...
Don't be blown up.
Don't blow up. Please don't.
Subscribe.
We love you.
Comment. Tell us what you thought of Revelation down below. Tell us what you think of Colin Baker. Do you just not like him because, a lot of people don't? Fair enough. But I do. Conrad kind of does.
I do. I enjoy his performance as a Doctor.
Yeah, his performances are good.
It's just not stories. Always great stories. Like, he has his moments, but...
Yeah.
It's very hit and miss.
But so we'll see you probably... Series 10 reactions are probably going out as this is released, so watch the reactions. Also, batch
if my editing really goes wrong, maybe when it's finished.
Batch 3 is probably in production as you hear it, hopefully halfway through-ish of recording, so that will be out in the next 4, 5, ish months after this one. Hopefully a bit before. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But subscribe and then you'll see when they come out. There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
And remember to press the bell notifications, otherwise you won't necessarily see all of
Oh
them.
yeah, and that bell. 'Cause,
That's pretty important.
YouTube have done that rubbish now.
Yeah. Why? Subscribe should mean subscribe. What does subscribe just means slightly attached? Occasionally you see a video. You need to make sure to hit the bell. Because that's...
Hit that bell. Ding-ling-ling. The cloister bell. Hit it hard. Made it a nerdy reference, so you got it now. So yeah, we'll see you then. Bye! Bye!